right here on your top right of this video. At any time, you can either go to the website or keep on watching. And as you go through the video, at the very end, there'll be a link that takes you to the website, or during the time, it'll be a link. So if you feel like you've got enough information, you can go ahead and click right here, and it will be a drop down. It'll show you the parts and what you're looking for. Click on that, and sometimes it'll take you to the exact part we're talking about, or it'll take you to the category of parts that we're talking about, or it'll just take you to the website and you can put in the search box what part you're looking for. We thank you for watching. Alright, the video that you're getting ready to watch is going to involve a little bit of danger. So if you don't know anything about electricity, you better go find this breaker. It's going to have a little reset button on that. It's a GFI, normally going to be a 50 amp, and you need to turn it off. This is another example. See, that one's got a little white button. They got yellow buttons. They look different. They're generally going to be in a box that looks similar to this. They should not be closer than 5 feet nor further than 15 feet from your hot tub, and it should have a pigtail that comes out and goes into your tub. So you need to find that breaker before you start and turn it off. Do not get electrocuted. I don't allow stupid people to work on hot tubs, so if you're stupid, quit watching this video. Go find something else to do to kill yourself. Other than that, keep on watching. Alright, this is the Spa Guy. What we're going to talk about today is Gecko SSPA packs. The way you can determine if it's an SSPA pack, it is this tight plastic pack that flips up. You'll see them. This particular one was a Dynasty Bahama Spa. This one is a more generic one. This one was probably in a Nordic. You see it flips up. It's light blue. But it will look like this right here on the inside. And what we're going to talk about is the ins and outs of heaters, how to diagnose them. And that heater is a direct fit for some of these packs. And some of them it is not a direct fit for. So keep on watching. We're going to talk about how to diagnose heaters for this particular pack and what fits in here and what doesn't. And you see this heater even comes with the pressure switch as well and the connectors for the heater. So just keep on watching. We'll talk about it. Alright, so one thing that I wanted to point out on these, if you measure across this heater from the edge of the flange to the edge of the flange, it is 15 inches. That is your industry standard. And you can see that this particular heater that we're talking about right here, that does come with the pressure switch. I offer these with the pressure switch, with the connectors. But you have to use the connectors. I also offer these on my website without the connectors. It would just have the screw-on type, the old style like this, and no pressure switch. So I offer it both ways. So the thing that I wanted to show you is some of these SSPA packs this type will not work with. This is the style. So if you look at this right here, I'm going to get it closer so you can see it. You can see that these tabs are actually soldered onto the board right there. They're not screwed on. If you have the style board that these tabs are soldered on, you're going to have to do the heater that has the nuts on it like this that I offer that will come without the pressure switch. If you have this style right here, you can see that it's got Phillips screws. Some of them have Phillips screws, some of them have 3/8 nuts on them, or 3/8 bolts. This style will work with this. So this is a direct replacement for this. Basically, to replace it, you would take the 2 screws out of the board right here, take that loose, take the ground loose, remove this nut from right here. You would unplug the 2 wires to the pressure switch. They simply come off. But these 2 wires it doesn't matter which way you put it. The pressure switch is simply a normally open circuit, and all you're doing is closing it and touching these 2 wires together with water pressure. So if you have this style where the lugs screw onto the board, and it is this type pack, the flip up type, what we call a Gecko SSPA pack, then these heaters will work. What we're going to do first is we're going to measure to see if the heater is open or closed. This is a 4 kW heater. We know it's brand new, so if we measure across it, it should measure about 15 point, see that in the high 15s, 15.6 is about right, 15.5 for 4 kW. So we know that this is good. If I measure across that, and you can hear that it actually makes a sound too when we have continuity. So if I measured across this and it was making a sound here and it didn't make a sound there, that means it's open. Now I'm going to check across the pressure switch and you can see it doesn't make a sound. The reason is the way the pressure switch works is when water is going through this heater tube with the pump on, it pushes the diaphragm up and closes these two and makes them touch together. That's why they call it a pressure switch. It's a normally open switch. It's closed when it has pressure. So now let's look at a 5.5 kW. This is a 5.5 kW element. When I measure across it, you see it's going to measure about 10.6, which is about right. 10.5, 10.4, 10.6 makes it a 5 kW. So the higher the kW, the lower the resistance. So if you measured across this, now let's look at this element. This one, when I measure across it, measures, you see it's measuring really high. So this thing is partially open, but I suspect it's shorted. So watch what happens when I touch from there to here. There's continuity between the electrode and the body of this element. That would make the breaker trip. So let's look at this one. There should never be continuity between here and the body of the element. You see that? Or even if you had the element in the tube, there should never be continuity between here and the tube. You see, there's no continuity. That's the way it's supposed to be. So this particular element right here would actually trip the breaker. You have to make sure you got a good connection. But you see, that would trip the breaker. That's what makes a GFI trip right there. And that would be a hard trip too. So the way you would diagnose this tripping the GFI breaker is this. The way you would verify it is you would unhook your two nuts off of the heater, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And basically isolate the heater from the system. So the back part, always use a wrench on the back part of the element. You can see on this part there's a nut right there made on it. If you don't, your heater may actually be good and you're going to twist the electrode off of it and destroy it. So you see I use a wrench on the back, and then I use a wrench to loosen this. And that's what I'm doing right here. It won't take me just a moment. And I'm going to isolate this. This is just a very simple test. Of course, you've got to be powered down. Don't electrocute yourself. Don't be an idiot. So basically on this system, all I'm doing is taking the two nuts off the heater. And I'm going to take the two connectors from the board to the heater and just take them off of the heater. Okay, so if you do that, you see they're loose from the heater. If you do that and you power up and the breaker stays, then as another test, you take something like needle nose pliers like this right here, so you can't shock yourself, that are insulated, and you just take one of these and touch it back to the electrode. If it trips the breaker, heater element's bad. What that means is that the heater element is like this one, where when you measure across it, it actually makes continuity from here to here, and it shouldn't. That will trip the breaker. You can see that. So that's one way. So to follow up, the way you diagnose heaters, you can have them that the element is actually not open, but it will trip the breaker. Or you can have it where the element is open, so when you measure across here, you get nothing. Or when you measure across here, it measures from here to here. Now a lot of times it will be enough to trip the breaker, but not enough to measure between here and here. So don't rely on measuring from here to here. Do the test like this, where you simply isolate the heater from the system, power up, the breaker sets, you touch it back, and it trips the breaker. So there you go, kiddies. That is how you diagnose a heater on a SSPA pack. We offer this style heater right here that comes with the ground bar. It comes with the connectors, it comes with the pressure switch. It is a direct fit, direct replacement for this type system. And we also offer the style that has the nuts here instead of the connectors like that, and it doesn't have a pressure switch. So that is what we offer. I am the SPA guy. We are Hot Tub Parts of America. I don't know much, but I do know hot tubs. Bye today.